Good, whatever. Let's look at Gork-roara. Art by Enos, which rhymes with penis. But before we sorry. Thanks to all my patrons. Mason Knox, new Megaboss patron. Welcome. Thanks to Baron of Dice for supporting the channel. And Wybarian for all the cool art. 123 Waaagh. Okay, so I've been asked a few questions about Gork-roara, and I thought I'd just make a quick video explaining how we're going to use this bad boy. So for those of you that don't know, the way that Gork-roara works, it is a manifestation. It only costs 5, which means in Cruel Boys, you only need 4 on the dice, which, yeah, is fine. And in Iron Jaws, you need 5 on the dice, but it is surprisingly easy to get those rolls off, right? Because it's very low. And the thing about the Gork-roara having such a low casting cost is it buffs the rest of your casting, right? It only casts on a 5, it banishes on a 7, it has a move of 6, it has an attack, it's surprisingly good attack, actually. It's 5 dice, 2s to hit with 5 dice, so you could probably get most of those through. 4s to wound, whatever, 1 rend, and then D3 damage, so this has the opportunity to spike. If you get 4 of them through, let's say, on D3 damage, like, it's surprisingly good. And then it has an ability in your hero phase called Bellowing Waaagh Cries. You pick an Iron Jaws or Cruel Boy Wizard or Priest that's within 3 inches of this manifestation to be the target, and you pick either 1 or 2 to add to the casting rules or chanting rules for the target until the start of the next turn. So no matter what happens, you're getting either 1 or 2 to casting or chanting. This works super well with a war chanter. Getting +1 to chanting is better than getting +1 to casting, because that +1 is going to stay with you and build up and accrue points. So if you're playing a war chanter and you want to try to get Violent Fury, which is the +1 damage chant, if you want to try to get that off, like turn 2, turn 3, if you have a Gork-roara and you're adding 2 to the chanting roll, you're just going to get to add 2, add 4, and so the probability that you're going to hit 10 has increased significantly. So that's straight away just an awesome thing about this manifestation. But it does more than that. So if you pick 1 or 2, then you roll a number of dice equal to the number picked. So you roll either 1 die or you roll 2 dice. For each 1 or a 2, it does 1 damage point to the target. Ward rolls cannot be made for those damage points. And for each 5 up, until the start of your next turn, add 1 to charge rolls for friendly Cruel Boys or Iron Jaws units while they're wholly within 12 inches of this manifestation. Getting +2 to charge is significant. Getting +2 to charge is a lot. Like statistically, let's say that it's going from a 9-inch charge, which is unlikely, to a 7-inch charge, which is far more likely. So that's something, right? You can't play it in Big Waaagh, which is too bad, because if you could recur units in Big Waaagh and then they're 9 inches away and suddenly you need a 7-inch charge, is pretty good. But I mean, that added little bonus of getting an additional +1 or potentially +2 to charge is awesome. If you're rolling 2 dice, right, each one has a 1 in 3 chance of dealing you a damage and a 1 in 3 chance of adding plus to charge. So the charge is fine. It's a little bit of an added thing. But for me, the thing that I like the most about Gork-roara is, like, I'm going to cast it first every single time. It's going to be my first manifestation because, like I said, I only need a 5 to cast it. And then after that, it's going to give me a bonus to cast on all my other things. So, for example, if I played a game in my last Iron Jaws game, I played it against a friend of mine. He played Feck, and I was able to cast the Gork-roara right away off of a place of power. I had 1 of my Weird Knob Shaman standing at a place of power. And then I with +1, I cast the Gork-roara and put it within 3 inches of the other Weird Knob Shaman. From here, then the Shaman is getting 2 to cast after that. I think it was something like this. I think I had 1 near a place of power and I had 1 in the Boss Rock tower. So then it's like, oh, I'll just put it here, and then within 3, and then he can activate it, so my guy in the tower can get an additional +2 to cast. So it's like overall I was getting +3 to cast between my 2 shamans, and then from there I was able to pull out, right? Because I'm 4 casts in this list if my dudes are near Ardboys. So I was able to throw out the swamp, I was able to throw out this, and I was also able to throw out a Hand of Gork, and I think I just moved my reinforced brick of Ardboys. So I think I took them and like slapped them right on an objective right in the middle of the map, which is super annoying for your opponent. So the Gork-roara is something that's going to enable all of your other manifestations. The plus to charge is whatever, but it's something that's going to enable all your manifestations. And then for me personally, I feel like after you have it sort of set out, then, you know, if you're going to sit with the weird knob in the boss rock tower, then he doesn't need to have all those fancy bonuses to cast. And in following turns, the weird knob that's moving up into the field is going to sort of bring this with him and keep it in a better position. But yeah, the bonuses to charge. I think if you do get the bonus to charge, I'm just double checking here, but it doesn't until the start of your next turn. So the bonuses to charge count until the start of your next turn, which includes countercharging. So if you can get +2 to charge, that's also to countercharge. And that is scary if you tell your opponent when they're moving on the... Oh, you just don't forget. These guys, these brutes, these ragers, this Kragnos, this whatever, right? They are actually getting +2 to charge while they're wholly within 12 of this manifestation. That's scary, right? So that's a little bit of a side thing. Like, that's going to happen a little bit more niche, but wholly within 12 is pretty reasonable, right? It's a pretty big distance to be wholly within 12. So yeah, primarily I think it's what you're really doing is you're using it, for me anyway, my favorite use is to use it to get all these manifestations off. Because that's just sort of my play style. I've always enjoyed playing like a magic castle, or like a shooting castle, or just some kind of control castle, which, so I'm really enjoying Iron Jaws right now for that reason, playing 2 shamans with 4 casts. It's like Gork-roara, 2 other manifestations, and then maybe the Hand of Gork or something. So it's I'm enjoying it quite a bit. So keep that in mind. If you're going to play War Chanters, yeah, if you're going to play War Chanters, then you're going to be able to really get this thing off scary. But regardless, whatever you do, if you're going to cast it, make sure that the first shaman who's casting it, if you have a place of power in your zone, you're using the place of power to cast this first, and then you're putting the Gork-roara wherever it is that you feel like it needs to be to get the maximum benefit out of this manifestation. Man, these manifestations are fun. Like, subscribe. Waaagh.